What's up, everybody? Welcome to Digital Hoarders, and it wouldn't be Digital Hoarder Wednesday without technical issues. So great to see you guys. I'm glad you can see us. Some of us. Speak of the devil. Doc is here. Doc, can you say something?
I am here, folks.
See, so don't
leave.
Quit out of don't leave. Watch us. The rock star is here. He's just a little physically absent. Well, welcome to Digital Hoarders. We are here to traipse through your backlog with you as we traipse through ours. Just never forget that you're never alone going through your backlog. So starting out, let's hop to Joel and see what Joel. Can you give us a review of what you played last week or watched last week and all that? Go.
Don't worry, it's not a Wednesday if there isn't technical difficulties. I am absolutely here. So absolutely I could do that for you, Alden. Just for you, I'm going to tell you all about myself.
Thanks, Joel.
Of course. So actually Destiny 2 won the game that I need to play, and I'm going to get a lot of hate, but I have not had too much time to dive into it. So I've only literally gotten through a few more missions, but I am working through it. I'm going to update next week.
You're going to put it on the backlog?
Yeah, it really is going to be on it. I have not, unfortunately, been able to do that. All I've done this, because I'm doing a lot of work right now, so all I've done was listen to the Hamilton soundtrack all the way through.
Yes.
8 times. And so, yeah, that's been my entire life. I'm trying to refrain from quoting all the songs right now.
Yeah, it's just so good. I'm right there with you. When did you, you didn't just find it, right? I mean, you've had it before.
Maybe like a month ago,
yeah,
I discovered
so
it.
Good.
I didn't even know it, but it's on like all the major streaming audio streaming services. It's so good. But no, I'm the boring one this week, so we're gonna pass it off to Doc. Doc, would you? I forgot what you had to review. Oh no, The Revenant, right?
Very. 3, 2.
Yeah, I had to do The Revenant this week, so yeah, I mean, it was a great movie. Definitely, it was worthy of its awards and everything. But I mean, coming from a different aspect, there was just way too little of conversation going on through the whole movie. I mean, there's a big ass badass bear in it, and a lot of just emotional filming. So, meaning that without the dialogue, they conveyed emotions with gritty scenes and everything. So I definitely enjoyed it from that aspect, from a filmmaking perspective. But from a consumer that if you didn't understand filmmaking, I'd be like, what in the blue hell was that all about? Was it just a big ass bad bear and some crazy fornication with sons and rape? I was like, what the heck, man?
Wow.
So you won?
Yeah. So it was just definitely crazy. Yeah.
That's our next episode. Is we're gonna try and cast the voice for the Revenant bear.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well, I don't have your vote apparently.
Whatever you want, Joel. Did you play anything at all this week, Doc? So you want? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've been playing Destiny 2 a lot, and I brought my Xbox here to Texas with me, and so I've been playing Destiny 2 what little I can. But to be honest, I absolutely have the most horrendous internet that exists on Earth right now, and as you guys can tell, I am so delayed. It is ridiculous. I'm in a tech conference, but yet I've got the worst freaking speeds known to man right now. And I mean, even on my cell phone, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm only getting less than 5 megabytes to 10 megabytes on Verizon LTE here. It's just atrocious.
So you're at a tech conference, busy doing work, and you watched your movie. And you played Joel's game. How sweet!
Yeah, definitely been fun.
In between adult beverages, that is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, exactly.
Wait for Doc to get that. Yeah. Okay, he's back.
Wait 5 seconds.
Yeah, just as an explanation for that, so everyone understands, there is a minor delay with our boy that is currently fucking having the life right now over at his conference. So there's sometimes gonna be a little bit of delay between there. That's just a fair warning.
Yep. But it's still Doc, and we love Doc. So
yeah, we still want him here. We still want him with us. I do think it would be great if we just all make 5-second pauses before we
Pretty
talk
much.
now. Just so
pregnant,
we're all in
pregnant-
solidarity.
pregnant pauses like
Yeah.
they used to. Yeah, just go completely blank.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks something's wrong with the podcast, and they pause it in their car, and they go, "What the hell?" And they pull over, and they go, "What's wrong with my car?" And they chuck their phone out the window, and they say, "This piece of shit." And then we go, "Ha ha ha!" But they don't hear that because they just chuck their phone out their car. So it's probably a really bad idea. We probably
This
should
is
do
a
that.
really intense plan.
I don't think we should do that. And that's really bad, actually. Let's not do that.
Waiting for Doc. All right.
12 seconds later, Doc's like,
sorry guys, it's like I'm deciding like, do I even respond to that because it's gonna be delayed so bad? God, it's horrible.
It's like
you
he's
know what?
actually writing. He has to write what he's gonna say and send it through a fax essentially at this point.
Yeah. This went from a technical nightmare to my favorite thing in the world.
pretty much.
Hello.
All right,
Doc, respond within 3 seconds. Or just Doc, respond within 1 second if Xbox is better than PlayStation. Go. Nope. Sorry, too late.
PlayStation.
PlayStation
Wow.
wins. Woo!
I guess it's PlayStation.
That's incredible. I didn't. You know what? Change. You're gonna have to change your banner to blue.
Well, nicely said, Doc. I agree with you
Turn of
completely.
events. Huh. Okay. Brandon, what have you been
Xbox
playing?
for life, yo.
Wait a second. There he is.
Nope. Go away. You're. All right. So, as far as what I've been playing, surprise, I have been playing Fortnite and Friday the 13th, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I also am playing South Park Stick of Truth, which I beat on PS3. I don't like turn-based RPGs. I loved Stick of Truth, so much so that I'm playing it again on PS4. Now that South Park Fractured Butthole has finally gone gold, I felt comfortable to finally pre-order it on PSN so that I could play Stick of Truth again before this came out. So I've been playing Stick of Truth again. I stand by that. It's still the funniest game I've ever played. I know the stuff that's coming, and it still kills me. That game is just, it's brilliant. So I'm playing Stick of Truth. My backlog just keeps growing. I need to get back into Lost Legacy. I need to do Hellblade. I need to do Dishonored 2 DLC. I'm slacking because I can't stop getting pulled back in to Fortnite and Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Actually got to play Fortnite last night. It was me, Alden, Andrea, and former Digital Hoarders guest Chris Thompson as an amazing squad going out there kicking ass. Andrea and Chris were kicking ass. Alden and I were dying.
Yeah, the Digital Hoarder end wasn't holding up
pretty
there in
fast.
the bargain.
Yeah, no, yeah. But hey, 2/4 of the team was really good. 1/2, 2/4.
2/4.
Who says that?
Wow.
1/2 of the fuck.
I
One
think-
half of the team.
My fourth grader is
Yes.
going through
That's all right.
reductions right now.
Yeah, he can teach me how to speak.
Jesus. 16:30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. 8/16 of the team was doing really good last
Yeah.
night. But whew. And then because I'm apparently a hypocrite, and I said a couple episodes ago with the DLC how I don't really partake in cosmetic DLC. I sure as hell bought the spring break bikinis and everything for Friday the 13th because I'm kind of a creep.
Whoa.
Fool!
All
I'm
right.
not. Hey, I'm not afraid to admit it. But
Episode 7?
huh?
Episode 7, we finally got the truth.
Oh, psh.
This has all been a build-up.
Anybody who
to
knew
truth
me
from Brandon.
before this knew that's not secret. But no, so yeah, I got that DLC. But I like what they're doing is they're constantly teasing new stuff. Like they've got the new Jason coming out, Virtual Cabin 2.0. The game still suffers from host migration issues and some server issues, and yeah, I get that. But what they continue to pump in, I think at least shows a good fate where they didn't just go completely quiet and and just disappear. So I'm looking forward to the stuff still coming out for the game, and I'm still completely hooked. As far as
Friday the 13th would be a great game for us to stream.
I
like,
agree
together.
completely.
That would be
Yes.
fantastic.
We got to get Doc on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody,
On his PlayStation 4, of course.
Yes.
of course, yes. We've been trying to get Doc to
I
buy
won't
the
get it.
go.
I will buy it. Sorry, I will be buying it. Folks just know that I've inundated with work, school, volunteer. It's my busy season right now, helping homeless veterans and helping people get through the holidays. So, I'll get back in the video game.
Don't make us
closer
look
towards
bad.
the
We know you're
every holiday.
good. Just
Yeah, and by the way, Doc, if you just wait long enough, I'm sure we'll be giving it away on the show at some point. We're just giving away all the games.
because Alex is the man. But as far as so those are the games I've been playing. I watched 2 movies this week with my wife. The Big Sick, the Kumail Nanjiani movie. I've been a big Kumail Nanjiani fan for a very long time. I love that The Big Sick finally put him on the map, that more people recognize him. Like, he's big on Silicon Valley, which is a huge, fantastic show on HBO. But I still think he's not as well known, and I think The Big Sick really put him out there on the map. It's a very funny. It's a Judd Apatow produced movie, but it's really funny. It's really heartwarming. It's real touching. Ray Romano just kills it in that movie too. Like his role was fantastic, and I never really thought that Ray Romano had those acting chops, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You saw it in theaters, right? I'm guessing.
No. It's out now. So
Wait, it's out?
Yep.
Oh my goodness, sorry, that's been on my hoarding list right now for movies. So.
Breaking news: Joel will be watching.
Absolutely, yeah, we're probably gonna watch it tomorrow or tonight.
It's a great movie. And then to completely change it up, my wife and I watched Wolf Creek, which is a horror movie that I watched in 2004 when it came out. 2004, I was a horror fan, but not like I am now. So if you haven't seen Wolf Creek, it's a very slow burn movie. It's a very slow burn. But when it kicks off, it's no holds barred. It just gets nuts. And I remember watching it in 2004 and being like, all right, okay, can something happen? Can something happen? Revisited in 2017 where I'm more appreciative of those kind of movies, and I was floored. It's like a cult classic. People absolutely love that movie, and it was great. So now on the agenda for Mary and I is to watch Wolf Creek 2, and there was a TV series that scored higher Rotten Tomatoes than either of the movies did. So I'm actually really excited to watch that. So
what's Wolf Creek about? Because I'm a big horror fan.
Yeah, so Wolf Creek is your kind of typical 3 backpackers get stranded. It takes place in Australia, so you gotta cut through some really thick Australian accents. But basically, it just becomes a cat and mouse game then. But when it's got some pretty good gore. It's got good action scenes, some real tense scenes. From what I've heard about the second one isn't as much of a slow burn movie as it's just a balls to the wall movie, which I'm excited for too. So I think you and Rach would enjoy that movie, Joel. You guys
Awesome.
just love the genre. So
I'm gonna add it to my my movie hoarding list right now.
behind The Big Sick. But Alden, what about you? What you been up to?
I just want to point out first off that while you were saying all that, you said the name Mary twice.
Mm-hmm.
I really am disappointed in that because quick backstory: my girlfriend and
Tanya.
Brandon's wife, my girlfriend Tanya,
Mary.
Brandon's wife Mary, we've made a concerted effort not to say their names because it makes them so mad when we just say my wife or my girlfriend.
So now, but then if we say Mary, they're like, why did you say our name? Why didn't you? So we don't really know what to say. So from now on, just as an inside joke, I should just say my wife Mary and I watched this movie with Alden's girlfriend Tanya and himself. So, but anyway, what have you been up to?
I have been playing games. I, as Brandon pointed out, have been playing Fortnite. What a fun game.
Yes.
I mean, I was already addicted to PUBG to an extent, but the keyboard and mouse barrier did keep me from playing nonstop. I don't have that barrier with Fortnite, so I just want to play it constantly. We played squads last night, and it was the most fun I've had in a long time. It was just really good.
Even though your girlfriend Tanya continued to just
chastise me.
hurl insults at him left and right.
I died so fast, so many times, and in retrospect, I wasn't good. But she didn't have to point it out the whole time while I was playing. And it was even worse too because she'd take shots and then she'd like put her hand on my arm like, "No, I'm sorry. You're gonna do better next time."
Doesn't
Oh
help.
my God, please
And then you
stop.
don't.
You're
That's
embarrassing me in front of my friends.
Which we
I still
found
want to
out.
play that game.
You-
I want to play the Battle Royale mode.
Jump in with us. We did find out last night that Chris Thompson is really good at football, and he might be better at Battle Royale because my God, he just mowing people down while me and Alden were
While we're
standing
laying on the
behind
ground.
trees.
It's like
basically.
what would happen if we were actually on a football field with Chris Thompson.
Pretty much.
We're laying
It was
on the
embarrassing.
ground,
It was embarrassing.
dead, and he's just going on and killing them. billion people. So I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. I finished Dishonored 2. I'm gonna pause for Doc's clap. Applause.
Nope, we're not getting anything apparently. Just
I
silent.
hope he's okay.
It's a golf clap, Alden.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe he just hates Dishonored.
Maybe. Or us. He
Or
quit
us.
Digital Hoarders.
He quit.
No,
He forgot his mic was on.
Very much.
So I finally finished Dishonored 2. It feels so good to be done with it. It was a great game, an amazing game, and especially once I got about 6 or 7 missions in. I don't remember which mission it was, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but you get a timepiece that
Brilliant.
really changes the mechanics of the game and just made it so much more fun to me and drew me in a lot more than it had to that point. I think I was slowed down too because I played through the whole game without killing anyone, which means anytime somebody accidentally died, because even if you don't kill somebody, like if they fall off of a cliff while they're chasing you, you get credited for a kill, and then you have to restart the whole mission.
So more power to you, because when I went into Dishonored, I had the same plan. I was like, I got this. I'm going to go in, watch me sneak through this whole game. So in the first Dishonored, you start in a jail cell, surprise Bethesda game that you start inside of a jail cell.
With rats.
But yeah, exactly, with rats. So I break out, and I put the first 3 guards to sleep, and I'm like, I got this. I get to the 4th one, he sees me, I have to shoot him in the face. I go back to the other 3 that were sleeping and stab them in their sleep, and I said, fuck it, I'm just killing everybody now. So more power to you, because I can't do that.
Well, it affects the ending, and I wanted to get the ending for that.
Yeah.
And why only kill 1 or 2 people? I mean, I might as well just try to kill no people. So
Fair enough.
I did it. It was fun, and it was super rewarding. And I finally got to start Wolfenstein, and that's so good so far. But I'm not very far in it yet. But the one game that I've been playing that I didn't expect to talk about, and Brandon called me out on it when I got here, my daughter started dance 2 weeks ago. So that means I'm sitting in the parking lot playing my Vita for an hour while I wait for her to get out. So I've got to find Vita games to play. I started playing on a whim because I've heard it was good. The Adventure Time Vita game. I don't even watch Adventure Time. I've seen episodes when the kids have them on and stuff. So I don't know anything about the show, but I know it's got a lot of personality. But the game is really Adventure Time Zelda Link to the Past.
Is it a game that is one of those games where you appreciate it on the Vita because you're on the go and you need something like that? Or is it a game that, because it's also for the 360, I think the PS4 and all that.
It's for 360 and PS3, yeah.
PS3, yeah. I think you can like somehow play it on the PS4 and all that, but whatever.
Maybe.
But is it one of those games that would be enjoyable on there as well?
I think so. I like it. The Vita's easily my favorite handheld console of all time.
Yeah, definitely I agree.
But it's one of my favorite consoles of all time. It just has such a great library of games. I love being able to play it on the go. But if I probably wouldn't have started the game on the PS3, but now that I know, I would absolutely have played it through on the PS3.
Okay, that's cool to know, because that's a game that I think it's co-op. So it's one of those.
I don't think so.
I thought I could have sworn
There's two different Adventure Time games. You might be there is one on the PS4 that is again, I don't watch Adventure Time, but it was like 99 cents on a flash sale once, and I was like, screw it. It's very reminiscent of an old point and click adventure, but it's not a point and click game. It's like an old Tim Schafer game. I got to get through the purple door, so I got to get the red scissors that have the green. It's a lot of that kind of shit.
Oh, gotcha.
So that one you can play on PS4 and stuff. And I want to say there's a level of co-op in that.
There is.
So I don't know. Maybe they're all meshing together. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this one too it's $1 on PS3 and Vita. So why not? It's the price of a mobile game.
Yeah, seriously.
And it's really good. It's fully voiced. It's got all of the personality of the show. It's really. Like I said, I didn't expect to talk about it. I thought I was just going to play it here and there during hip hop class, and but I've stuck with it. Now I'm just playing it every night, trying to get through it. I'm on the last dungeon now. It's really cool.
Hell yeah!
If you got $1, try it out.
Is it still, or was that part of the Flash?
No, it's just $1. That's the price.
They're just like, just take it.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. That's awesome. Have you? Anything else? Anything?
I
know you didn't watch anything.
I haven't watched. Well, that's not true. We've been watching my girlfriend Tanya and I have been watching Last Man Standing. We were
My wife Mary and I love that show.
we were a few seasons behind. We just finished season 2. We watched season 1 as it came out. And it's just one of those shows where you miss a couple episodes and you're like, I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
And we just did.
And then your 4th season, you're behind. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw the new season was starting out and we thought it was the 3rd season. So we were like, all right, we're done with the 2nd season.
Yeah, no.
Now we can watch the new episodes. No, there's a whole other season.
Well, it's been canceled, so they're not making anything.
Oh, has it?
Mm-hmm. Breaking news. Unfortunately, it has been canceled.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Or probably 6 months ago on the
You
internet.
heard it here first that Tim Allen show that apparently 5 people watched was canceled. But I enjoyed it. I love Tim Allen. It was very much like the Home Improvement of 2014 when the show came out. It was very
my girlfriend Tanya loves that show. I hate it.
You don't
I have
like
a question
you don't
about
like Home
The Last Man
Improvement?
Standing.
I've talked to your
Home
girlfriend Tanya about Home Improvement. Yeah.
I have a question about this Last Man Standing show because there was only one instance I've ever seen of it, and it made me not like it. Completely steered me so far away from it. I was like, nah, I'm not doing this show. It was just one of those political rants that he had in the show, and he based pretty much an entire episode around it. And it was just really dumb. It showed how low, it was just a really low point, I guess, for him, honestly. But my question is that the whole show, or was that just one segment and like everything else sticks back to just doing comedy and Sting?
So the thing about that show, I was a big fan of that show. I'm going to keep running this joke in the ground. My wife Mary and I watched it a lot, but there were some episodes where it got over political. It got real deep down the religious rabbit hole. Like sometimes they steered a bit, and usually when that's going to be that way in an episode, within the first 2 minutes, and it ain't going to let up for that episode. But let's say they were 24 episode seasons, you might get 2 or 3 that were like that, and then the rest were just,
cool.
So, yeah.
I might give it a shot then, because I loved Home Improvement.
Yes.
It's just that what I saw of Last Man Standing was just like, dude, are you really using a show as a platform for this silly stuff?
There is a few out there, and like I said, you'll know because Tim Allen's character throws around a lot of Republican jokes and Obama jokes and stuff like that, but he throws them in passing. But there are some episodes where you're just like, all right, we get it, So, but it's still
that's what I saw, because it was like 7 minutes of like all the different stuff cut together.
Yeah.
But obviously, it doesn't matter if that's only a few episodes.
Yes, it is. Yes. So.
Also, breaking news, Digital Hoarders. I said Last Man Standing. I meant Last Man on Earth.
So
that's a way better show. That show's amazing.
So completely ignore everything that I just said about Last Man Standing.
You know what?
Yeah.
All that marketing, Last Man Standing needed that marketing. So I mean,
we just brought it back from cancellation.
So has Last Man on Earth been canceled?
No.
My day just got better.
Absolutely not. Last Man on Earth will be around for a while.
That is very well. Yeah.
That is a smart TV show.
Anybody watching got to watch me go from heartbreak to pure happiness in 5 minutes.
Do you even know what the? So were you kind of confused why the hell I kept talking about Tim Allen in a show that didn't have Tim Allen in it?
I thought you were just comparing them because they had similar names.
Jeez.
I'm an idiot.
Your girlfriend Tanya agrees.
Yeah, my girlfriend Tanya super agrees. She's the one who called me out and said in the chat, it's the wrong name, dummy.
Got him. Man, even from afar, she's patting you on the back, telling you next time.
Yeah, exactly.
Not quite, babe, but next time I think you got this. So.
Yeah.
You forgot the shoulder. You forgot the shoulder touch. There you go. That's better. For anybody listening to this, Brandon and Alden are getting very sensual right now.
Wow, so is that voice.
So it was. This is NPR voice. But anyway, we are going all over the place right now. I'll tell you what. We're going to touch on social gaming, and we're going to touch on some things. But before we get into the main topic today, let's give away some games.
Yep.
So the first game that we're going to give away is Pyre on the PS4, made by Supermassive, the guys who did Transistor and Bastion. So if you're familiar with the game, it's a tower defense. It's a weird game. It's a tower defense basketball. It's really hard to explain, but
Yeah, no, if you guys, I think I had it on my backlog list on the first episode, and you guys said no to that one because it was too new to be in my backlog, and then everybody picked Destiny 2 for Joel, so I don't know anymore.
and I told you why that happened. We all know. Doc opened up the floodgates, and here they came. But anywho, so if you guys haven't seen the show, basically the way we do this is type into the chat the code word we give you. We'll give it a couple minutes, and then we will pick somebody. Alden, you got a code word for Pyre?
Yeah, just basketball.
I kind of thought you were going there.
I was gonna say Pyresketball, and then I said no. You know what? That's too difficult.
Too many people spell
That's
that one wrong.
way too Joel of you.
So just
That
type
was very Joel.
just type basketball into the chat. It is for the PS4. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if it's even on Xbox One. But regardless, type basketball into the chat, and in a couple minutes we will pick a winner for Pyre. So while we wait to get into that, something else that we watched Sunday night was our Washington Redskins absolutely positively laid the smackdown on Diego's Raiders. So sorry, buddy, but that was a hell of a game. Again, if you're a fan of the show, you know Chris Thompson was on here. He can't be stopped this year. If you're keeping up with what he's doing this year, he's the best. You know, he's one of the top 2-3 players in fantasy right now. He's unstoppable.
Absolutely.
4 TDs in 3 games. 77-yarder last week. He's playing like a man possessed this year. So
Diego, if you're understanding, he's a Raiders fan, I'm guessing, right?
he is indeed, yes.
So Diego, after that game, I'd understand if you want to switch teams. So the Packers will always welcome you.
Yeah, Joel's a big Packers fan down there in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Joel is a Packers and a Ravens fan, and I think he's slowly becoming a Redskins fan.
Who are the two fans?
See, I support Chris Thompson.
There you go.
Undefeated right now.
Listen, I could be unoriginal and then just pick the team that's closest to me. You're in Virginia. Technically, Washington's not even your team.
Redskins are still closer to us than any other team.
Yeah.
Isn't Philadelphia just as like?
No.
What?
Oh, I know that's right. You're south. Yeah,
I
I keep
promise
thinking.
you.
Yeah,
Virginia's
I'm
above
gonna
you.
buy you a map.
It's about 40. We're about
Oh, no, don't
45
tell me
minutes.
geography.
45 minutes from FedEx Field.
But anyway, the thing is, listen, I'm going to set aside this. When you pick a team just because it's closest to you, really that's the most boring thing. Because it's like, how do you even know you support them?
Nobody did that. Nobody did that.
Listen, all right, you're gonna hate on me for liking a team and then also
Hating?
supporting my home team. I support the Ravens, all right, and I support the Packers. I like both their organizations. They're good. They're good people. They're good stuff.
All right, we love you. But
Yeah.
and now let's give Joel some mic time to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Not too much because this could get steamy. So
You know what? Rename the episode.
absolutely
No, we'll wait for episode 12 on that. I gotta realize
oh fuck, of course we will.
we have to all recognize the greatest of all time to wear that number.
Yeah, what Terry Bradshaw? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, hell of a game. For your other team, we won't even talk about that. My God, that was embarrassing.
The Ravens.
44-7.
Yeah.
Whew. The Jaguars are always that team where everybody's like, "This is their year." I'm telling you right now, this is the year. I'm picking the Jaguars, and then they don't do anything, and
Well,
they
they
still
got
might
one.
not, but they embarrassed the shit out of the Ravens. That's for sure.
Yeah, they did.
So,
Yeah.
and Doc likes the Colts. So we'll just. The Colts are the Colts, but hey, Brissett's playing his ass off over there better
Yeah,
than
he
anybody
is.
thought he
Yeah.
would. So I mean,
Yeah, I like Brissett too. He was actually one of the New England talent I liked.
he's a good player. Gonna comb through all of the responses here to give away the Pyre code. And Miguel Diaz, you are winning Pyre. It's the only one in there. So Miguel Diaz, congrats. Go Miguel. So just DM our Twitter page and we will send you the code. If you're not following us on Twitter, follow us. If not, you can send us an email to digitalhoarders@gmail.com. Again, we all know that the topic of this show is going to be kind of heavy. So we do have some more stuff to give away, but we'll save that for the end to kind of bring the spirits back up.
What else do we have to give away?
But we will be giving away Far Cry Primal for the Xbox One. A little bit of an older game, but still a really fun game. So we will be giving that away. And then next week, as all by the amazing Alex, we will have codes for Cuphead to give away and the THQ Nordic Humble Bundle for the PS4 and PS3 and Vita, which is, I want to say it's like 15 games. It's a lot of games. So whoever wins that PS4 bundle next week will have a lot of games to play. Whoever wins the Xbox One code will be a brand new Cuphead code, and that game looks awesome. The game comes out, 2 days, doesn't it? 29th, I think. So,
yeah, it comes out on Friday.
So we will be giving that away next week, so make sure you don't miss it. So Doc has walked away. I don't know if he's back yet because we don't see him. But how do we want to start this? How do we want to?
I think it's a tough topic to start talking about. But on one end, as far as social gaming goes, I mean, we had just such a great time playing Fortnite together last night. And it is crazy the world we live in now, where you have that opportunity to kind of reach out and we live close by, but we wouldn't have been able to play with Andrea or Chris or anything. We wouldn't be able to bring this podcast to people. Everybody's a lot closer now than you realize.
Yes.
We want to make sure that everybody knows what we've been through. Also, that we're there to talk to anybody. I mean, I know we've reached out to people on Twitter before when we saw people that were struggling. Because sometimes what you need is just somebody to talk to. I know Brandon's had some issues as of late, friends that he's lost. I'm going to let Brandon talk a little bit. I don't know. I don't want to indulge too much of your information. That's up to you to decide what to talk about.
So yeah, the reason that this I wanted to address this is very recently, I lost another guy that was buddies of mine growing up to suicide. This was a guy who I hadn't talked to much. You grow up, you graduate, you kind of go your separate ways. It's very rare that you keep in contact with the people that you grew up with, like in any real detail. I can count on one hand the people that I interact with on a consistent basis that I grew up with, and he just wasn't one of them. We touched base here and there, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And as is usually the case, you could have never really known that anything was wrong with this guy. And then I saw the news, and unfortunately, what's happening is I have lost count. The amount of people that I've lost in my life, friends, family members, coworkers, neighbors, to suicide is I don't know. It's far too many. One is far too many, but I have completely lost count. And it's one of those things that, like Alden said, something that we're going to preach is just that you are never, ever, ever alone. It doesn't matter. I think I speak for every guy in this room. I don't care if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. If you want to text me and say that something's going on, then text me. If I'm sleeping, I don't give a shit. I'll wake up. I'm here to talk to anybody about anything, because you have to realize that, like Alden said, there's lots of avenues, that there's always somebody there to listen to you. Maybe it's not your friends and family. Maybe they're the reason that you're feeling depressed. So don't turn to them. Sometimes it helps to turn to a complete stranger, because they can give an unbiased opinion and they can let you know the things that maybe you want to hear. It's not an easy subject to talk about, but what I want to talk about for me is what I've gone through. And the reason that I'm doing this is because it would be very hypocritical if I sat here and said, what you need to do is talk about what you're going through and what you've been through, if anybody will listen, and then I don't do it myself. And to me, that's very hypocritical. Backstory on me is it's going to get real personal. I've never met my biological father. I have absolutely no idea what he looks like. The only thing I know is his name is Michael, which is where my middle name comes from. Other than that, I know absolutely nothing about this man. And it's always something that's in the back of your head where you just kind of want to know, like, do I want to meet him? Do I care? If I meet him, am I going to hug him, or do I want to punch him? What do I want to do? I've gone through 33 years without knowing him. I think I can go the rest of my life without ever knowing, and I'm fine with that. So my mom was a kick-ass, single mom. Her and my grandmother raised me. The man who I call my father came into the picture around 2 or 3, and he's been there ever since. But it wasn't easy. As far back as I can remember, there wasn't many days that went by that I wasn't hit or thrown or punched or choked or anything. And I get it. There's old school parents out there that say, yeah, but when your kid gets out of line, you just got to pop them on the ass. And I get that's not how I parent, but I get the parents that do. This is not that. This was never that. This became literally scared to death when, you know, your dad was coming home, which is something that I take into my parenting with my children, that they'll never be scared when dad's coming home. I'm going to lay down the law, but I'm going to do it by talking, which is, you know, something I can touch on later, but something that my dad used to say was, this is how I was raised. I don't know any better. This is how I was raised. This is how it's done. And that's bullshit. You just have to have the power to rise above it and not be that. But regardless, so that continued to happen. As I got to high school, as any high schooler would, you know, you're dealing with everything. Actually, let me back up a little bit. Excuse me. Fifth grade. My uncle Richie, he lives with us. He's like a big brother to me. He's a real cool guy. He likes metal and he likes video games, and he's like the young, cool uncle. And he takes his own life, and it catches absolutely everybody off guard. So much so that if you sit down and talk to my family, they're torn. Half of them won't admit that he took his own life. They'll say it was something else. So here we are. Jesus Christ, I don't know when I was in fifth grade, but that was a long time ago. Here we are 20 plus years later, and nobody still wants to acknowledge that this is what happened. So that was the first time that suicide was ever really introduced to me. And fifth grade, you're old enough to understand that somebody's not there. Maybe you don't understand the complexity and how they did it, and that doesn't matter, but you understand that they're not there anymore. And you can't figure out why they would do that, because on the outside, everybody looks happy, you know, and I never would have pegged that from him. But regardless, fast forward to high school, life hasn't gotten any better at home. And, you know, it's kind of become to the point where you just, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every single day of my life that this happened, but I can sit here and say that I don't remember as many days that it didn't. And it's one of those things that if you walked in your house and you stubbed your toe every day of your life, except for a couple, you're never going to remember the ones that you didn't. You're always going to remember the ones that you did. And I don't remember as much of those. And you get to high school and you start to struggle with girlfriends and relationships and, you know, getting your driver's license and graduating and getting out of school and doing this and doing that. I wasn't receiving support. I have a younger sister. We argued like brothers and sisters do, but I never really went to her with anything. So when I say that suicide is something that I'm very familiar with, I'm talking on more than one occasion. I had gun in my mouth, hammer cocked, that I couldn't go through with it. And I never, as a teenager, I didn't know why, because what the fuck else is there? If I can't, I have nobody to talk to. I've got my friends and they're great, but when I go home, I'm alone, you know? I'm talking, you know, noose tied. I'm talking bag put over my head and tied tight. Way too many times. I tried it and I never went through with it. Just poked myself in the wrist. Something I'm very familiar with. But I couldn't do it. So the day comes that I graduate. And something that a lot of people don't know about me, and I'm actually surprised I'll even talk about this right now, is when I was graduating, I was actually going to leave for the Navy because I just wanted to leave. As I started to get towards my senior year of high school, I became quite the kleptomaniac. I mean, just if it wasn't bolted down, I was taking it. You know, that got me in trouble once. Because I'm not smart. I stole my Navy recruiter's cell phone so that I could call my girlfriend in New York, because those were always going to work. I lived in Pennsylvania, by the way. So here's a smart thing: is
probably bad idea. Yeah,
steal government property,
okay.
And then when you get catch wind that the recruiter is aware that you do it, you destroy it. So now you destroyed government property on top of theft. So I was told by my recruiter, we can press charges or we can ship you off the day after you graduate. So the day after I graduated, I was on a plane out to Great Lakes, Illinois. Illinois?
No.
Regardless.
Illinois.
I went through boot camp. I didn't really mind it at all. Like, I mean, you see people breaking down around you. But being called all these names and belittled in front, fuck, I bring it on. You know, I'm used to this. And so I was fine with boot camp. I go to Pensacola, Florida for air school. And when I get to Pensacola, Florida, now Doc can attest to this, and I know a lot of the people that are watching and listening are former vets. But on the base in Pensacola was an NEX, and in the NEX, boy, it was really easy to steal shit. And the kleptomaniac snuck back up at me, so I kept stealing shit until I got caught. And then I was faced with the brig, and I was told that this is what's going to happen when you're going to go in front of the judge, the court, whatever they call it. It's been a minute. I graduated in 2001. But you're going to go in front of them. This is what we tell people. If you want to stay, tell them you want to go home. If you want to go home, tell them you want to stay. I didn't want to go home. So I told them that I wanted to go home. Well, they sent me home. So I go home, and I don't have anywhere to go. My parents begrudgingly pick me up at the bus stop, and we go home, and I'm there for a couple of days, and I just flat out can't take it anymore. It's no different. So I move in with a buddy. He gets married. I move out. Go to my grandma. My grandma is my guardian angel. She is the rock that has always been there. Now, I'm not trying to shit on my mother either. She saw the stuff happening, but there's only so much you can do. You know, I can step back and say I would have handled it completely differently. She looked at it as, well, she wasn't working. So if she takes us out of the equation, where the hell do we live? So you can wrestle with that, because I have my whole life. But regardless, I'm living with my grandma, and then I move out because I'm not a good person. I'm just an asshole. I don't know where I belong in life. So then it turns into me sleeping on the streets. I'm sleeping on the streets. I'm sleeping in Walmart bathrooms because it's cold. I'm sleeping in YMCA basements. I'm sleeping behind buildings. I'm sleeping in front of a bar because I don't know if I reach out to somebody if they'll even take me, and I don't know. But while I'm sitting there outside of a bar surrounded by drunken morons, and I don't drink, so I just fit in with the rest of the crew. I just sit there, and at one point I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. I could easily turn right back to these suicidal thoughts and say, what the fuck is there for me at this point? I mean, I have nothing at this point. I am completely alone. I'm literally sleeping on the streets. I am sleeping in a Walmart bathroom so that I can stay warm through the night before they come banging on it to clean it, to kick my ass out. What the fuck else is there in life? But it's one of those things that you just have to pull yourself up and say, I'm not gonna be a victim to this. I have seen too much that this isn't going to be the end of me. And through all of that, I never turned to drinking or drugs or alcohol, or those are the same thing. Nothing. I never turned to any of that stuff because there was still always that part of me that said, that's not you. You're not going to do that. And eventually this isn't you, this life isn't you voice rang loud. And I decided that I'm not going to do this. So that very same bar that I slept in front of, I started to talk to one of the guys, and they rent rooms upstairs, and they let me sleep in one of those rooms. I end up getting a plethora of different jobs, like, you know, every stereotypical teenage job I had: the convenience store, the grocery store, the warehouse, fast food, you name it, I did it. But I don't care because I'm paying my way, and I have something, and I don't have a whole lot to show for it. I live in a fucking room that's smaller than the room we're recording in right now, but it's mine. I might be alone in this life, but it's mine. But while I'm there is when I really start to develop my love for movies. And why I want to bring that up is because they helped. When you're lost in this world, it's nice to escape into a fictitious reality. You know, it's nice to lose yourself in a horror movie, or it's nice to lose yourself with familiar faces. And that's exactly what I did. Like, I would come home, and I didn't have anybody. I didn't care again. So I would come home, and I would just watch movies. I would watch whatever I could. I would just pop a different DVD into my PS2, which was failing me constantly. But and basically what sprung from that was just like, I started to recognize actors, and then I followed their path, or I recognized directors or writers, and I followed their path. And that built the movie freak and that I am to this day. And my wealth of movie knowledge comes from that. And once I really got myself straight and I was able to then get more video games sprung forward. But the reason I bring that up is don't ever be afraid to lose yourself in something like that. Like you sit there and you say you're alone. I was alone. There was nobody, but I had those movies and that was enough for me because I had those movies and I felt comfortable. I felt at home.
Almost like you've made friends through the TV screen.
Exactly. I had a conversation with a guy a couple months ago, and he said to me, "Well, what kind of loser am I? I come home and I just sit on my ass and I watch TV. What the hell is the point of even doing this anymore?" And I said, "You're not a loser. That's literally what those movies are there for. They're there for you to sit down and watch them and get lost. And you turn around and it's 3:00 in the morning. That's what they're there for. That's literally their purpose is for you to escape into them. Books are the same way. I just never responded to books as well. So blah, 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 blah. Then I start, eventually I get a management job and I'm starting to pick myself up. And then I have another friend commit suicide and I sit there and it just says, maybe this just really is not, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm getting myself up and this guy was doing better than I am. And he put a gun in his mouth. What is the point? So then what I did, and I cannot recommend this to enough people. If you are in that situation, if you're alone and you're struggling, what I did is I took myself from McSherrystown, Pennsylvania, which is right outside of Gettysburg. And I said, I'm moving. And I didn't mean I'm moving 20 minutes down the street. I picked up and another buddy of mine, Nate, at the time, who was going through similar things. He always felt alone. So we kind of we weren't even like the closest of friends, but we understood each other. He said the same thing. So we literally got online, we typed in addresses, and we went to Statesville, North Carolina. There was nothing there. There was nobody there. But that was the exact reason why we did it. Because you can go there and you can reinvent yourself. You can be who you want to be. You don't have to worry about the things that kept you down and the people that kept you down. They don't exist in North Carolina. It's 9 hours away. They don't exist. And moving to North Carolina, while the events that ultimately unfolded in North Carolina were not very memorable at all, a lot of, crappy stuff happened there, but not to what I had been through. It was the best decision of my life because I think moving to North Carolina saved my life because I left everything behind. And I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be a new person. And once I get to North Carolina, I get my first management job with Finish Line. And they take a shot on me and they say, we're going to give you this job. And I work for Finish Line. And then from there, it was just a string of management jobs. I go to Wilson's Leather, which I was there for a few years. From Wilson's Leather, I go to Rite Aid as back into the convenience store. So now I'm feeling better about myself. Now I'm feeling like I've done it. I've pulled myself up. I'm respectable now. I'm making better money. And then I get fired from Rite Aid because something I had done when I was younger was dug back up. So here you go. You want to start reeling back into the ground. Not only was I just fired, Mary and I were engaged at the time and waiting on our first child. So now how do you feel as a man when you've just lost your job? Your fiance, your kid are depending on you and you're worthless and you just lost your job. And that's what you tell yourself. I'm collecting unemployment until unemployment goes dry. I don't know what to do. My buddy Andy ends up getting me. I literally scrubbed shit in an if you're familiar with Utz Snack Kicks, it's Utz factory in Hanover, Pennsylvania. I literally scrubbed shit out of toilets because I didn't care. If I scrub this shit, I'm feeding my kids. I don't want to do this. This is hands down the worst job to this day that I've ever had. But if I scrub this shit, if I do this stuff that nobody else wants to do, my kid, me, Mary, and my daughter get to eat tonight. And that's all I care about. And that's the thing, that you just have to rise above it and understand that it is going to get better. It is going to get better. Once I get out of there, I go to Papa John's, and then I go to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster was perfect for me. Blockbuster leads to Sears leads to GameStop. GameStop leads to where I am now with Sony PlayStation. So you look at where I am now, and a lot of my friends, like, they have this little joke. They say that I'm hashtag blessed. And I am blessed. I am blessed because I have a beautiful wife, and I have 3, soon to be 4 beautiful children, and I have a beautiful house. But I didn't get here without going through a lot of shit that I refuse to let it be the end of me. And I know I'm rambling, so I apologize. But if there's a point to be made, it's just don't give up. You are never, ever, 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 ever alone in this world. I don't give a shit who you might not think is. Somebody is there. And I get it. There's suicide hotlines, and some people won't call those. And I can understand you not calling that. That's fine. So let me be your suicide hotline. Let any of us, I'm sure I speak for these guys, let any of us be that. We are there for you. So just never feel alone and never give up. Because if I had given up, then I don't have a dream job with PlayStation, that I get to do the coolest things that I've ever done. I don't get to be friends with these guys. I don't get to know Chris Thompson. I don't get to go to E3. I don't get to do these things because I gave up on life when it was rough. So I know I just rambled a whole lot, but if anybody takes anything away from that, just understand that depression is real. Suicide is real. These are real things that people don't talk about, but don't be afraid to talk about it. Let yourself be heard. I'll keep saying you're never alone, and all of us at Digital Hoarders are always here for you guys. But I'm going to stop hogging the mic.
And if sometimes it's hard to take that step where you're like, hey, I got some stuff I want to talk about. And I get that. I've been there. You just, hey, hit one of us up and say, hey, you want to hop on and play a game? We'll sit there and we'll play Fortnite. We'll squat up, baby, and maybe you drop a few hints. Hey, I'm having a tough time. You want to talk? And we're here. And not even us. You'd be surprised how many people you could find that you're already friends with. You've got followers on Twitter, and you say, hey, I'm having a rough time right now. Anybody want to hop on Friday the 13th and play with me? And it's a great escape. And it really does help so much to talk about what you're going through. It's a lot better than bottling it up, holding it inside, and you always think the worst when you overthink it. So once you let it out, it's kind of like releasing the air in the balloon a little bit, and it's a lot lighter of a load on you. I haven't been through nearly what Brandon went through, but I had clinical anxiety. Terribly when I was about 21. I had it all my life. You don't realize it until it comes to a head. But I had reached the point where I was literally all alone. I had a girlfriend through high school, and it wasn't a healthy relationship. And once it was over, I had already cut ties with all of my friends, or all of my friends were also her friends. And we broke up at 20, and all of a sudden I have zero friends. Literally zero friends. It wasn't even like hey, I can reach out to this person and start to get friends back. No, they were gone. It was before the days of Facebook. It was before the days of MySpace. There wasn't a lifeline kind of out there to fall back on. And I lost it. The way anxiety works, and I'm sure so many people have been through it and have felt it too, you have these feelings and these fears and this adrenaline rushing through your body that tells you something's wrong, I'm dying, everything's falling apart, even if it's not. I didn't have anything terrible going on in my life, but I had these constant feelings. Several times a day where I thought, oh, I'm dying now. I can't. And there were time periods where I stayed in bed for I think a week at one point. And that's when I realized, okay, I got to do something. I got up and I went to the doctor, and she said, hey, checking out your heart. By the way, have you ever taken anything for anxiety? And I'm like, that's not what this is. Like, do you feel my heart? Like, it's going to explode out of my chest. And she said, okay, well, I'm going to give you a Xanax, and then we'll talk. And I took the Xanax, and I went, oh, that was anxiety. And everything is cool now. But that's just such a stopgap. You have to learn how to express yourself, talk to people, and build on yourself. Because a lot of the time when you talk through these problems that you're having, you think of solutions that you otherwise wouldn't have. So like I said, you get so bottled up in your head that you start to think, I don't know what to do here because, and then you just start thinking, I can't do it. But as soon as you start saying it out loud, you're like, oh, okay, so I could, I got this guy over here that I could, hang out with here and there. I was going to the comic shop every week just so I would have an outlet and somebody to talk to. But I was just still so full of anxiety and nerves that I never asked anybody to hang out with me. I would go into the comic shop, talk for 2 hours, buy $40 worth of comic books, and bail. But you build up from there, and talking helps so much. And I do want to, I mean, Brandon, thank you so much for telling your story. I know people are in the chat saying that. It's rough going through everything you've been through. I can't even imagine.
But the thing that, and it's kind of a overarching theme, is I started talking about this thing a lot lately. Within like the past year or so, for some reason, I just said I want to talk about this more, and it helps. Like I said, it's hypocritical if I tell you to talk about it and then you don't. But I never did. I'd gone on with my life, and like I said, we have 3 kids, a 4th on the way, and my parents are fantastic grandparents. I'm not even going to front, they're fantastic grandparents. And I took the high road, and they're a part of their lives, and I try. I took that high road to not take them out of my kids' lives. Now, if the day ever came that I ever saw even a smidgen of what I went through as a child, gone in a heartbeat, and I'll never see them again, because my kids won't live like that. And if that says anything negative about me, so be it. I don't really care, but that's how it's going to be. But, I started talking about it more, and the more I talked to some people about it, the more I found that I'm definitely not alone. There are people that have had it worse, obviously. There are people that went through exactly what I went through. There are people that went through stuff maybe not as bad, but there's always somebody that can attest to what you've gone through. And like I said, in school, I felt alone, but I didn't tell anybody. My buddy Andy knew about it, but that was about it. I had a lot of, I shouldn't say I had a lot of friends. I had a decent, my core group of friends, and it was kind of one of those things that it was just known, but nobody talks about it. They kind of know. There was really no denying it. This happens. I get it. Man, that sucks that he goes through that, but it is what it is. And there's always been those core group of friends for me that, when I started to talk about it, we're always there. My buddy Josh, who is the only person that I know since elementary school to this day. That's saying something. A lot of people not from elementary school to keep up. He's literally the only one. He was always there. His mom, Bonnie, was always there. And I always, I owe them my life sometimes, and I'm always thanking them whenever any chance I possibly can get. But like I said, talking about it helped. And when I talked about it, I talked to other people, and I come to find out that not all that long ago, and this will be news to if my family decides to listen to this. My dad, who I've tried to I brought it up one time to my family, and I said, let's, the thing that we're all acting like is that this never happened. And to this day, I've never gotten an apology. I've gotten some half-assed, I didn't know any better. And as I said earlier, that's bullshit. That's 100% bullshit. It's if you wanted to do it, you would have done it. It's as simple as that. But through these conversations, I come to find out that a phrase that came out of my father's mouth was, there was I won't say who he said it to, but he said, there was a point in my life where I actually did love him, but that point is gone. This is my father. Again, I don't know my biological father, but this is my father. So if you want to talk about, I don't have the best relationship with him. I try, because I'm trying to be the bigger man here. But you want to talk about something that's going to fuck me up for the rest of my life, is that exact sentence right there. That exact sentence right there. I loved him at once. That will fuck me up for as long as I live. But I'm talking about it, and I want you guys to know about it, because it might fuck me up on the inside, but when I talk about it, it feels that much better. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of the core of this is when I was going through all of that with anxiety. And sorry, Doc and Joel.
No, you're fine.
All right.
I'm giving you guys the space.
I found, I went years without talking about it because it's a thing. It's embarrassing. I don't know why it's embarrassing, but it was embarrassing to say, hey, I think there's something wrong with me, or there's something wrong with what I'm going through. You don't want to say it because you feel weak or you feel dumb. But as soon as just one day I said, I'm just going to start to talk about it a little bit. And I talked about it a little bit to a friend, and he goes, oh, shit. Like, I'm kind of going through that right now. And it was just like immediately it opened a door to one of my closest friends. And I found very quickly, from that day forward, I said, I'm just going to talk about it. I want people to know what anxiety is like and how many people go through it and what you deal with. And I mean, just so many time after time after time, you start talking about it and it becomes this whole, I don't know, it's venting, but you're also bringing people in who are going, hey, I've been afraid to talk about this for years. Let me talk about what I've gone through. And I think to what you're saying, like bringing these things out starts that discussion, and no one's going to judge you ever. I mean, I don't think anyone judges Brandon for anything he just said. I know nobody ever judged me when I went through or talked about what I was going through.
The people that care aren't going to be judging. You know, the people, anyone that's judging is someone that you don't really need around you at that point anyway.
Agreed.
And I think it's important to note too that, you know, being sad or feeling sad, that's okay. That's definitely all right.
Yeah.
You know, someone mentioned that it's tough for them because they in the chat that they go through phases where they kind of clamor up and they don't talk. And I know that myself. So you know, Brandon had a lot of things happen to him that gave him his depression. It's a miserable journey. I'm sorry you had to go through that. And like I feel like a jerk right now because you know, depression is either something that someone gives you or it's a gift from the universe.
Yeah.
And for me, it was that gift. You know, I don't have this backstory yet. Here I am feeling the same way, and it's one of those things where, you know, it makes you feel worse. You're just like, man, you know, he goes through all this. I didn't really go through that. You know, I didn't meet my father either. My mother was never around. She was raising 4 kids. Same thing with you. You know, I wondered about my dad as well. Like I was like, I wonder what he looks like, kind of thing. As I grew older, I cared less. But you know, last Christmas I actually did the research, and thanks to my wife Rachel, she actually found like all this information of essentially that side of the family I'd never met. So I was able to finally actually text him on or I think it was 2 days before Christmas. It was either 2 days before Christmas or on Christmas. I sent him a text and was just like, you know what? I'm just going to shoot something out and see what he says. And I shot it out. I was just like, hey, listen, I am, you know, you had a son. I know, you know, all that. It's me. You know, I'm 26 now, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of just sent this text that was very just standard, kind of. It was almost like throwing the fishing line out. You know, I don't even know what to expect. And his response back was, that's great. Have a good Christmas with your family.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the entire response. And then like a few months later, I got a message from his daughter, technically my sister, and actually ended up talking to her a good bit. So, and we even every occasional will send like a message or something just to check in. So that's pretty cool. Now cool. But it's sidetracking, but you know, you're allowed to be sad. That's important to know. You know, you said that you clamor up, or you know, somebody said they clamor up with their partner, and that can put a strain. And I understand that. You know, my depression unfortunately didn't have much earning to it. It's just here, but I understand there's days where you know, trying to say something is just it's like lifting 300 pounds, and a spouse or a partner can't possibly understand that. You know, sometimes I'm screaming in my head what I want to say, but I cannot move my mouth. And people think that's one of those big barriers that's hard to cross, is that people these days, a lot of time, because of the way depression kind of gets thrown around a lot, almost like a word meaning sad, just simply sad. A lot of people don't think it's anything. They think it's just something you can snap out of. So when I say that it's like lifting 300 pounds of weight between my lips to talk, I genuinely mean that. Sometimes it's hard for me to even mumble a word. And you know, that strains a relationship, and it did for a while, until I could try and help her understand. But the thing is, she couldn't understand until I told her. Of course. And it's a tough conversation, especially when you don't have, you can't, like, sometimes you're sad for no reason. And so when someone's like, why are you sad? Or, you know, why are you down? It's like, I don't know. I just am. And, people feel guilty for that, and because they can't describe it, they can't explain it, they can't talk through it. But, it's important to let people know, listen, I'm just down. I can't really control that. And then just explain what you go through the best you can, because the more you try and help others understand what you're going through, the more that they can separate the that can't be true from the, oh, he might actually be going through this kind of thing. It's really important. It really is just important to communicate as much as you can. And there's always people out there that can try and help you. I remember I used to, whenever I was having like an episode where it's just like, I'm so down out of nowhere, I would go to like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, and I would just shop around. And, people would come up and talk to me. And it was weird too, because when you go out without a purpose, you notice your surroundings more and more moments come to you, if that makes sense.
Does.
I wasn't there to buy anything. I wasn't distracted. I wasn't, seeing a friend or something. I'm just going in there. So the little interactions that you have with people, like bumping into them in the aisle on accident, become just a little bit more. It makes you feel a little more alive because you're just paying attention to the world. So that's another thing I can say is whenever you are feeling down, stay away from your phones. Kind of put that stuff down and go out into the world. People are a lot nicer in person. The internet kind of shows a lot of the worst sides of us, and you want to get away from that as quick as possible, because when you have those depression episodes, everything will get to you. You'll let everything feed into you, and that can lead to suicide. I've had that plenty of times where I've had to sit there and fight myself. I remember there was a night where I almost did it. I was very, very much drunk, which I know can impact that. But I did it on purpose. I knew that if I got drunk, I could make that decision and just do it. And I for some reason, I don't know what it was, but people say, and I hate seeing this, and when people say, killing yourself is selfish. You're not thinking of others. And it's like, well, no shit. Pardon my French, but no, I'm not thinking of others. My head is clouded right now. There's literally something inside of me fighting me every moment, telling me I'm not worth it. Yep. You can't just tell me, Joel, you're a good guy, or you're fine. I'm not going to believe you. I'm a piece of shit in my head, and I can't, even now, that's how I think of myself, and I can't stop that. I just have to kind of try and drown it out with the positivity. But, when that moment hits you, when you want to make that decision, what people don't understand is that you don't have control anymore. You lose control. You are against yourself, and it's a battle that's so tough to win. And that night, I lost. I started walking out of my house. I actually walked out of my back door knowing nobody would notice. And as I walked away, one of the people that lives with me was out on the deck. And it's funny, I still haven't even told him to this day, and he doesn't listen to our podcast. That's what he gets for not supporting us. But I was walking outside on the deck, and he was there smoking a cigarette. And I don't know what it was, but there was like that little bit of me, like sort of inside, like reaching out, like, shit, go grab him now before you do this stupid thing. And I could have easily just walked down the stairs, went to Walmart, and did what I needed to do, but I didn't. I just reached out and just simply had a conversation. And the thing is, the reason he doesn't know that night he technically saved me from killing myself is because I didn't even tell him about it. I just started talking to him. I just had a conversation, and I kind of weaved in what was like just what was going on in my head. I was trying to weave it, and I was essentially saying things that brought up my issues without actually bringing it up. And he was just talking to me. It was just casual conversation, and that was enough for me to literally just turn it off, go back inside, and know I needed to go to bed. And I think, listening to Brandon, listening to Alden, and just my own experiences, it's crazy how it all really comes down to just opening your mouth and communicating every step of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really well said, and I'm really glad you brought that up, because there really are two sides of the coin there. There are the people, and Brandon went through so much, and then there are people, and I haven't dealt with this as much myself, but I saw it through my family, my whole life. People that just feel sad and depressed, and real clinical depression. They can't control it, and they feel worse because of it, because they haven't gone through anything. Not to say my family didn't go through anything, but my grandfather killed himself. My mother dealt with depression issues all while I was growing up, and I saw it firsthand. And you kind of get a feel for it, and it's ugly, man. Like, it sucks to just be that upset and not know why. That's where it comes in, where it's good to just talk about it, because I don't think my mom would have made it where she was without therapy. I wouldn't have made it through my anxiety issues without therapy, for sure. It's just because you're able to get in there and you're able to talk to somebody and say, look, I don't know why I'm this sad. And you talk through it. Because admitting that you don't know why you're sad is okay. And there's definitely a stigma with that. I mean, it's getting better, for sure. It's 100 times getting better. Like I said, I grew up watching it, and I grew up seeing the way people thought of my mom when she was going through those issues. And I see the way people are dealt with now. But it's not fixed. It's not fixed at all. There are still people who will judge you, but screw those people. I mean, there are more people now that you can find that will understand. Like I said, I've seen it for so long firsthand that I can talk to anybody about it. I can't even pretend to act like I know exactly what you're going through, but that's okay. I've seen it, and I'm here to talk to anybody who wants to talk about it. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Amen to that.
How you doing over there, Doc?
I'm good. I've been listening to you guys. I mean, I know you guys heard my story many times, but I mean, if I can, I guess I'll give a little bit, of my past, or I mean, just a little insight to it. What I can say is that from my very bit of childhood, it's we all do things or have gone through things that shape us, and there's certain times that we make choices that can alter our life. And as many of you guys know, I do public speaking on this stuff. And so, I mean, as a young child, I went through sexual abuse, being raped, to beaten, to physically tied up, put in, closed rooms for days on ends through different foster homes and that stuff. Through it really messed me up into the side. Like, I mean, I can kind of understand some, like, how Brandon's saying, I tried to commit suicide when I was in juvie. I took my bed sheet and I hung myself from the thing, until they found me passed out, because I was tired of being raped. And, it's like, I just wanted the pain to go away. And because it didn't seem like no one was there for me, and everyone always abandoned me, which, in turn, when I look back on it, it's like, who could have been there, and what were the signs? And that's why I think me moving, having gone through war and that stuff, losing a bunch of friends, and to suicide. I mean, I watched people blow their brains out because they couldn't take the PTSD, or their wife cheated on them while they're in country, so they didn't want to go home because they thought they lost it all. And I mean, those images are right there in my mind every single day. Many of you guys know, I mean, I post when I lose friends or vets who, didn't reach out. And that's why I created the Lift Up Club on like Xbox. I have vets all the time just hit me up all times of the night. And it's like, hey, man, I just need to talk. My demons are haunting me right now. And I mean, that's what I try to do with vets now. It's like, hey, I've been down that road. I know what you're dealing with right now with the PTSD. The demons are there. You're here for a reason. We can get through this. You have a purpose. Sorry, I'm crying here. You have a purpose, and it's, that's why when you guys see me, when I got injured and that stuff, I'm still smiling, because you know what? I'm alive. I get to,
Damn straight.
I know at the end of the day, I'm helping someone else. That's what I live for. You guys know my motto. I mean, if I help someone, that's my day. That's my life's mission, is to make someone else be able to see the next day or put a smile on their face. Because, there was too much hurt, abuse, and everything else. I just want happiness in this lifetime. And like I said, we all know we're here for you. And mind you, if you're ever dealing with something, and I mean, if it can stick with one thing with you, please just talk to someone. Don't be afraid. You're never alone. I mean, it's not worth it. there's so many good days ahead. You may have these few days, you know, I mean, bad. I mean, I went 6 months of homelessness. I hated it. I mean, I when I listened to you, Brandon, I felt like you were talking, you know, we were living the same life. I was in bathroom at Walmart taking my baths and everything else during the winter on the East Coast. I was going to KFC at nighttime getting their scraps to eat. And, you know, it's just, you know, but I never gave up. It was just like, you know, I didn't know what the hell to do in life. But we're here for you, you know, just, yeah.
Yes.
Doc's too proud to talk about it too, but keep in mind, Doc does have a book. He is a published author. You can get it on Amazon for like what, $5?
Yeah, and it all goes to charity.
Yeah, and it deals with a lot of his background. I think Brandon's looking for it right now.
Yeah.
Our signed copy from the famous Doc Cupcake. There we go. What's the title? My Journey as an FMF Doc. It's a nice, quick read, but it really is. It gives you kind of an insight to who Doc is as a person and what he's been through, and just kind of something to kind of to vent and enjoy, I guess.
One thing I was going to say is there is a movie called We Bought a Zoo. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of my wife Mary's favorite movies. I did it again. But there's a quote in it that I really like, and I think it can apply to what we're doing right now as far as finding that courage to talk to somebody. The quote is, you know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage, just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery, and I promise you something great will come of it. And that's exactly true. I love that quote because sometimes it might be hard for you to swallow your pride to ask for help. But if you do, something great will come of it. I love that quote. I use it as much as I can. So yeah, that's just, I live by that quote now.
It's true too. You'd be surprised at what you accomplish when you literally just, you shut out the rest of what people think, essentially.
Yes.
You know, when you block out your surroundings and just do what it is you want to do, it's intense how much you actually can accomplish. You know, when I was like 16, this is a little off topic, but it's one of those crazy examples of just by putting yourself out there, you can do weird stuff. I worked at a movie theater, so I had a lot of jobs as a kid, but my excuse is just because I was lazy. You know, every 2 weeks it's like, I'm done. I'm gonna quit and then take 2 weeks off and get a new job. But I worked at a movie theater, and there was like a random employee. Some guy got hired at some point when I was working there, and we kind of just started talking and hanging out because he was one of those like, you know, I don't need to work here. I'm just doing it for extra money kind of guys. But when you're younger, you kind of gravitate to those guys because like, yeah, I don't want to be here. I got games to play. But he kept promising, like, talk about how, like, you know, he's going to make so much money during the summer, so much money during the summer. It's because he was a street performer, and he made a lot of money in tips from doing these shows on the boardwalk. Now, if you guys have ever been on, like, I guess like even festivals, fairs, if you've seen street performers, if you've been to Renfest, you've seen street performers. They're just paid in that spot every time. But street performing at its purest form is there's no one that's hiring you. You go out on the street literally with just a permit that you buy for, like, you know, it ranges from like anywhere from $5 to $300 for a season. That's it. You just go out and whatever you want to do on that sidewalk is up to you. And you got to try and gather a crowd if that's what you want to do. And he showed me that. And that was so terrifying. So I did an escape show where I was that's what I was planning for, where I escaped from a straitjacket while being tied in 100 feet of rope. And it was a really cool show we were writing. But when I got out to the boardwalk, it was just like, oh, no. I'm watching him build an audience. All he's doing is just he's just standing on his spot as people are walking by. He's just saying, hey, look at this magic. Come look at this magic. He's just doing tricks for people. But you know how the world is. People see that like, screw off. Or they're just ignoring you. And it's embarrassing because for every one person even blinking an eye, you have 20 people just like, look at this loser. And that was such a big hurdle to get over. But, you know, I watched him just keep doing it. And I couldn't. I tried to get up in front of a crowd. I was just shaking I just felt like an idiot. and I wouldn't do it. And finally, the one guy I was with, not even the person who got me into this, who was supposed to be my teacher, but one of these other guys that was with us doing a show, he took my straitjacket, my rope, said, you know what? I'm going to show you how to do it. And he just got out. And dude, he just started. He didn't even look to the people. He just started setting up a show as if he was doing it for himself. It was like he just blinded himself to his surroundings. And what he told me when he was done, because in about 5 minutes of him just goofing off, he had a crowd so big, he had to pull them in and form a circle around him. And I was like, how'd you do that? And he told me, you just got to not pay attention.
Yep.
He said, one of the hardest things about building a crowd is counting them as they come. He said, nah, don't do that. So instead, he gave me his speaker and let me do my show. He just blared the music and said, listen, don't look anywhere else other than grabbing the stuff out of your box and setting it up and set a stage. Just set up a stage and I promise you your show starts. And I'm not even shitting you. This is what happened. He did this shit to me on in Ocean City, Maryland, on the boardwalk next to the Doomsers ice cream, where there's that big, like, I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's a big, like, open spot there. That's where I was performing. So I got up and the music was playing loud. It was Go Go Bordello, if anyone knows who the heck that is. It's just this weird, like, out of country music. Clearly. And I just start setting up the stage. Like, literally, I'm not looking behind me. I'm just setting up a stage. And I shit you not, when I turned around, a crowd fucking, pardon the French, huge. I mean, like, huge everywhere. Like, intense. But you know what's weird? Is, like, my shaking that I had from just like, hey, come here, come look at this. It was like, I didn't have that. There was a crowd of probably 100 and something people just standing there. And without even blinking, I was like, come in, let's do this show. And from there, everything was just, I was already prepared for my show, what I was doing. But by just blinding myself to my surroundings, like I was able to make an entire living in the summer, just doing shows for 3 hours, making like $400 or $500 a night. It was intense.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show, like, getting started doing anything, whether it's anything that you might embarrass yourself doing, talking about your problems, that just getting started is the hardest part. If you can just shut your brain up and tell yourself, I'm going to shut my brain up for 10 seconds and just do this thing that's terrifying me, just get started. At the end of that 10 seconds, maybe I'll stop. Most of the time, you get started and you're going to keep going and you're going to be a lot more comfortable doing it.
Yeah. Say yes to doing the things you want to do more often, because it does tie into depression. Because a lot of times you think you're a failure, or you convince yourself that you're not worth it. But set a goal, and just literally start going at it no matter what. I promise you it'll get achieved if you actually just go forward and do nothing but what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And last thing, and then we'll get moving. We're going to wrap this show up. Mm-hmm. Maybe, we're talking about reaching out to us. Maybe when you reach out to us, you don't want to tell us what's going on. Maybe you don't want to get in depth. That's fine. We don't have to talk about it. You can just hit us up, hit me and Alden up and say, hey, you want to play Fortnite?
Because we will.
You want to play Friday the 13th? Because
we will.
And Joel.
Oh, yeah, Joel. You got to play with us. But anyway,
I will.
And we never have to talk about what's going on, because it just pushes the fact that, again, I'm going to keep saying it, you are never alone.
Yep.
I've been going through some weird funk this last couple of days. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what it is. But I played a lot of Fortnite last night with Alden and Chris and Andrea, and I snapped out of it. It's just, it helps. It's therapeutic. Mm-hmm. So again, never alone. Reach out to us. We are here for you guys. Let's wrap this subject up here.
We got another game to give away?
And we're going to give another game away, and then I will go into our poll, and then we will close the show out. Woo. Like I said, we're going to give away Far Cry Primal. So, what do you got?
Sabretooth.
I was literally just about to say that.
We're not.
I shit you not.
We finish each other's
sandwiches.
Yeah.
So
That's
type in
frozen.
It's from Lego Batman. From Lego Batman. I watch it too much because my son's obsessed.
Lego Batman was such a surprise.
Fantastic.
That was such a great surprise.
Type in type in sandwiches. That's what we're making it now. Into the chat. While me and Alden go over our movie poll and our video game poll, we will choose a winner. Type in sandwiches. So Alden, go over your 3 movies.
Oh, it's funny you should say that. So here's what I'm going to do. I haven't told anybody my choices yet because Brandon desperately wants me to pick Pan's Labyrinth. But I kind of got a thing I was going with. Halloween's coming up, and I got some things I want to watch that I've been putting on the back burner. And I always talk about how I don't have time to watch movies, but I'm going to make this a lot worse for myself. My poll number one choice is the TV show Ash versus the Evil Dead. I want to watch it so bad.
Me too.
I don't know why I haven't.
I have
If it
season
wins,
1
I'm
and
doing it
season
with
2 if you need to borrow it.
Well, then yes.
Okay.
I'm doing it with you if it wins.
Okay.
Only if it wins.
Fuck it if it doesn't win. It's a fantastic show.
I'm
Just
gonna,
do it anyway.
at some point, I'm going to watch it anyways.
I'll never watch it if it doesn't win.
The Evil Dead movies were my first entry into that kind of slapstick horror.
Mhm.
That is my favorite genre. I'm not the biggest horror fan. I like horror movies, but that kind of like slapstick comedy / horror movie is my favorite thing.
And Bruce Campbell is an American treasure.
Yes, he is. Kind of on that same vein, my second show is another show I've been wanting to watch, Stand Against Evil,
Okay.
which is John C. McGinley playing a similar role to Ash.
Just not nearly as good as Bruce.
Well, probably not. But I love John C. McGinley. I mean,
Fair enough.
He, we watched bits of the first episode, and my girlfriend Tanya and I, and it's super good. And
Wait, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
My girlfriend Tanya.
Oh yeah, and what was yours, Brandon? I'm trying.
It's my wife, Mary. Yeah.
Okay.
My wife, Mary, and I have that show sitting on our DVR. We need to watch it.
Yeah.
But my wife, Mary, and I do enjoy Ash vs. Evil Dead.
There's something about her.
Show.
There's
Yeah.
something about her.
So my third choice, and I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm gonna get your advice, but I was gonna go with last week's highly touted BoJack Horseman
Mm.
as my third choice, or should I make Pan's Labyrinth my third choice?
BoJack Horseman.
Kind of Halloween
Well,
too.
here's the thing. You got a Halloween theme going here.
Mhm.
You need to make a Pan's Labyrinth because it's a very dark fairy tale.
What do you
BoJack.
think?
BoJack's there year round though. You specifically said in a horror theme.
Doc,
What
what
do
do
you
you?
want a horror theme? That's
Yeah,
it?
he's pushing it more towards Halloween. He said. So for that, I say Pans. When we come back to you in 2 weeks, you put BoJack.
Yeah, because
on
I'm not gonna
Halloween
finish.
episode of BoJack.
there.
I'm not gonna finish whatever I start now before next week. I'll watch however much I can, and then I'll just keep going because I need a new show to watch anyway. So, Doc, what do you think? Should I make it Pan's Labyrinth or should I make it BoJack Horseman?
Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, well, there we go. My third choice is a movie. I was trying to do an all TV one, but
See, now you got me torn between. You know what? No, I'm not. Ash is one of the best shows. Love it. Bruce is a natural treasure, but you're
Over and
never
over.
going to finish 2 seasons. So Pan's Labyrinth gets my vote.
I'll finish. I can finish
Well,
a TV show.
Yeah, but you won't look up from your fucking Vita. So it
Yes,
won't
I
matter.
will.
But
One for
so
Pan's Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth. Then yeah, you have to because you have to
You have
read
subtitles,
Pan's Labyrinth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 1 vote for Pan's. Joel.
I'm doing Ash vs. Evil Dead because if
right.
it doesn't win, I can never watch it.
Until you put it on your poll. Doc. No. Doc.
Hey, what's up? Sorry, you guys are cutting in and out on my end. I'm roboing on my side.
You're
Not
sounding
for
good.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
everything's
go.
sounding good. It's just you,
Pan's,
Doc.
Pan's Labyrinth. Should Alden watch Pan's Labyrinth, Ash vs. Evil Dead, or Stan vs. Evil?
Oh, I said Pan's Labyrinth. the
Okay.
first
Well,
time.
you were picking him too. Cool. Pan's
Yeah, that
Labyrinth. All right. So my 3 video games. Again, to touch on that. So if you're not familiar, when the show ends, we'll put up a poll on Digital Hoarders Twitter. You guys will vote. It'll run for 24 hours. At the end of that, we will play / watch whatever you pick. So my 3 games. First one is Bastion. We are giving away Pyre, and I Never Beat Bastion, which is another supermassive game.
Yeah.
Super massive game. Excuse me. Played it for like all of 30 minutes before, and I was like, yeah, all right, but I never went back to it. So that is on there. Second game is King's Tale, the entire set. That one I've heard is fantastic. It looks funny. Meredith, who will be our host in 2 weeks. It's one of her favorite games. She always raves about it. And Andrea, a good friend of the show's, loves that game as well. So she recommended it. The third one that I've been really wanting to get back to is Valiant Hearts, because I've heard nothing but great things about Valiant Hearts. So Bastion, King's Tale, Valiant Hearts. What are you picking, Alden?
Valiant Hearts. I just kind of want to see what you think. I have it in my backlog too. I don't know a whole lot about it. I'd like to see your thoughts on it, and that's my only reasoning.
Fair enough.
Joel,
You know what? Hang on.
I'm hanging.
Okay.
It's what is the game called? King's Quest, right?
Oh, I said King's Tale, didn't I? Excuse me. That's
King's Tale?
no. You're right. It's King's Quest. I apologize. I said it
It's
wrong.
King's Quest.
King's-
Okay, that's what I wanted to make
King's-
sure.
King's Tale is the Heath Ledger movie.
Last Man Standing? I don't.
Last week, yeah. My wife Mary. So
King's Quest.
Joel,
That's like the classic side scroller kind
correct.
of thing.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
on
I'm
PS4. It's like 5 episodes. It's kind of like a Telltale game how they
Yeah,
released
kinda.
it. But you'll never live it down. So what is your choice, my friend?
It's just ironic because when I was looking up King's Tale or King's Quest, I was making sure it was what I thought it was, so I could make that dumb joke.
I ruined it.
Yeah, you did.
Stole
All
your
that setup
thunder.
I had prepared.
But what are you picking, buddy?
I'm gonna go with King's Quest anyway. That was
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
because
It looks cool.
no, it does. And you said it's like in episodes.
Yeah, they released it in episodes this time.
Yeah, that's even more interesting. A retro
Yep.
game. It's yeah, do that. Do King's Quest.
All right, Doc, what's your pick, buddy?
Gonna go with Hearts, Valiant Hearts.
All right,
Hmm.
tiebreaker. All right, so let's give away Far Cry Primal to Super Cooper. I guess there's no E's in it, so I'm guessing that's what you're going with. Super Keeper. If you follow us on Twitter, DM us. If not, send us an email, digitalhoarders@gmail.com. Replace the E with a 3.
Quick question:
That
Is
is-
Super Cooper brothers with Sly Cooper?
It's very possible. He also likes Pan's Labyrinth, so he's a really smart guy or girl, smart person. So that is all. That's all we got today. Doc, you got anything before we wrap this up, buddy?
No, I just want to say thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your days and listening to us here at Digital Hoarders. It's really, really appreciated. And I know today was a tough subject that many people shy away from, but I'm glad that we're able to use this space to be able to make this issue aware and to at least try to build positivity from this.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Joel, any signing off words?
No.
not a sentence.
We got a lot of stuff said earlier in the episode. It's very rare we get that out of the way before the ending. No, it's the same thing. You know, it's okay to be sad. We're always here. That's the main things to take away. Everything else is a backseat with that topic.
Absolutely. One more thing. Two things. Super Cooper keeps doing nice things. He just gave his code to Arato D'Amato. So I think you've won from us before, but he said, I already have the game, so please give it to them. So there you go.
He really
Big
is
up.
the opposite
See?
of Sly Cooper. Because
He's
Sly,
nice.
I bet
He would have stole it. He
He would've
totally would have
stole it
stolen
for
it.
sure.
Absolutely. So Arato, send us the message on Twitter. One more thing. We were giving away the copy of Madden. And the winner of that, so if you don't remember, Joel was gracious enough to put up a copy of Madden 18 for the Xbox One. All you had to do was go and review the podcast on your local podcast services and then email us a proof that you had reviewed it. So the winner of that code is Twitter's handle is J9Woods. So J9Woods. So if you're watching, send us a DM. If not, I will tweet it out as well. So congratulations on that. But as far as the show goes, I'll just continue to echo what these guys said. Thank you for listening to us. Sorry for hogging the mic for 90% of it. But
thanks for sharing your story, by the way.
thank you. But yeah, I keep saying it. It's gonna just. I swear, I'm just gonna sign off everything on Twitter, which is never alone. Just hashtag never alone. We are always here for you. Speaking of always here for you, why don't we plug something? Speaking of hashtags, Alden, you want to plug something?
Oh, yeah, I guess we'll plug it. Brandon and I are starting a podcast. Not to take up too much time here at the end, we're going to have a second podcast called #DadPod. That was another
Pretty
one
clever.
of Brandon's very clever show names. Check us out. We should have an episode up next week,
Yes.
and we will go from there.
What we're going to do on that show is just lots of dads out there, lots of modern day dads. How do you juggle being a kick-ass dad with work and gaming and sports and TV movies, and all this cool shit that we talk about. How do you juggle that while remaining to be a kick-ass dad? We're going to tell you stories about us.
Or kick-ass mom.
Or kick-ass mom. Yeah, kick-ass parents. But hashtag parent pod just sounds weird.
Yeah, dad pod's way cooler.
Yeah, way cooler. But just come listen to us talk about our lives, our, again, personal lives, just not nearly as depressing. We'll just hit on how the crazy shit our kids do and the cool shit that we get to do with them. It'll just be a lot of fun. We're not going to do it live. It's just going to be audio at first. Hopefully you guys respond to it. Big shout out to Diego for also creating the graphics for that. If you guys need any graphic works done, hit up Diego. He's done Digital Hoarders and hashtag DadPod. So that's all I got, Alden.
All right. So again, thank you guys for sticking with us. It was a long episode. It was very heartfelt, but also very heavy at times. Just don't forget that we're always here for you. You're never alone. And on that note, for Doc, the man behind the curtain, Joel, I'm wearing a hoodie and not a tie. Brandon, another PlayStation hat. Brandon, PlayStation hat number 2 or 3.
And one last thing, by the way, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt.
Just ruin the sign off.
Just remember, everyone, you all have options, just like a Telltale game.
Oh, he stole your sign off.
That was way better. No, yeah.
It was smooth, but
now,
for all those people he said first.
I have a new name for Joel, and I can't say it on air. And for me, Alden, Mega Man shirt. I don't know. This has been Digital Hoarders episode 7. Thank you for joining us. It's kind of like a Telltale game.
No, it doesn't work.